Bella Swan's life seemed to be settling into an unusual rhythm after discovering that her boyfriend, Edward Cullen, was a vampire. Despite the dangers of being involved with him and his mysterious family, Bella had never felt more certain of anything in her life. She was deeply, irrevocably in love with Edward, and the world around her seemed brighter because of it. But love with a vampire was never destined to be simple. As her 18th birthday approached, Bella grew anxious, not because of getting older, but because each year would mark her aging while Edward remained eternally 17. The difference would widen like a chasm, and she feared one day he would look at her and see someone fragile, mortal, and too far removed from his perfect, timeless existence. The night of her birthday, Edward's family gathered to celebrate with her at the Cullens' house. Their home glowed warmly, and Carlisle, Esme, Alice, and the others tried to make Bella feel welcome. She loved them like a second family. Yet, in the midst of gift-giving, something went wrong. Bella cut her finger while opening a package, and the drop of blood was enough to trigger Jasper's thirst. His instincts overwhelmed him, and though Edward shielded Bella instantly, the moment created chaos. The reminder of how vulnerable she was in a world of predators burned painfully in Edward's mind. For him, it was more than a scare, it was a wake-up call. Days later, Edward grew distant. Bella sensed a storm coming but could not stop it. He walked her into the forest one afternoon and broke her heart with quiet, final words. He told her he and his family were leaving Forks. They had to disappear. He insisted that she did not belong in his world, that she would be safer living a normal human life. Though his eyes betrayed pain, his words cut mercilessly. He claimed he no longer loved her, leaving Bella shattered, abandoned in the woods. The months that followed dragged Bella into a hollow existence. Days blurred into nights, seasons passed without her noticing. She functioned, but she did not live. Charlie, her father, grew worried as his daughter withdrew into herself, barely speaking, barely eating. Her only solace came from nightmares where she screamed Edward's name, though he was gone. Bella's world had become gray, drained of purpose. But something changed when she discovered a strange phenomenon. One evening, desperate to feel anything, Bella recklessly climbed onto an old motorcycle with a group of strangers. As the engine roared, she heard Edward's voice in her mind, warning her, pleading with her to be careful. The sound of his voice sent shivers through her, both painful and comforting. It wasn't real, just a hallucination born of her grief, but it gave her a reason to chase the thrill. If danger could bring Edward's voice back, she would find danger. Bella soon turned to Jacob Black, her childhood friend from La Push, who became her anchor during this dark time. Jacob was warm, kind, and alive in a way Edward never could be. His presence began to pull her back into the world of the living. Jacob taught her to laugh again, to fix motorcycles, to share secrets by the fire. He was the sun after months of winter, and Bella found comfort in his unwavering loyalty. Yet beneath his easy smile, Jacob harbored his own mystery. His moods shifted unpredictably, and a tension brewed inside him that Bella could not fully understand. When Jacob suddenly began avoiding her, Bella's heart sank. She felt the sting of abandonment again, as if Edward's ghost had returned to haunt her through another loss. But the truth was far more complicated. Jacob had transformed into a werewolf, part of an ancient Quileute line destined to protect their land from vampires. The change frightened him, and though he longed to stay by Bella's side, the danger of his new life made him pull away. Eventually, Bella discovered his secret, but rather than fear him, she embraced it. Jacob's monstrous form could not push her away. If anything, it made her cling tighter. She needed him, and though he wanted to be more than a friend, she could not give her heart fully, because part of her still belonged to Edward. The supernatural world that Edward tried to shield Bella from soon returned to her life. Victoria, the vengeful vampire whose mate James had been killed by Edward, was still hunting Bella. Jacob and his pack of werewolves protected her, their massive wolf forms patrolling the forest, but the threat loomed constantly. Bella's longing for Edward, combined with the danger circling her, created a storm inside her heart. She was torn between the warmth of Jacob's love and the shadow of the vampire she could not forget. The turning point came when Bella, in a reckless act, jumped off a cliff into the cold waters of the Pacific. She had seen the other Quileute boys cliff dive and decided to do it herself, not to impress anyone, but because she craved the rush, the danger that might bring Edward's voice back to her. The plunge nearly killed her. The waves pulled her under until darkness closed in. But Jacob saved her, dragging her to safety, furious and terrified. Meanwhile, far away, news of Bella's cliff dive reached Edward through a terrible misunderstanding. Believing Bella had died, Edward's despair was overwhelming. With Bella gone, his existence had no meaning. He traveled to Italy, to the powerful vampire coven known as the Volturi, with the intention of provoking them to end his life. Without Bella, he wanted nothing more than oblivion. Alice, who had seen Bella's cliff dive in a vision, rushed to Forks only to find Bella alive. When she learned Edward's plan, horror struck her. Bella, realizing Edward thought she was dead, refused to let him destroy himself. Together, Bella and Alice flew to Italy, racing against time to stop him. In the ancient city of Volterra, Bella ran through the crowded streets under the glaring sun, desperate to reach Edward before he revealed himself as a vampire. She spotted him stepping into the light, his skin shimmering like diamonds, ready to expose his kind and force the Volturi's hand. Bella flung herself into his arms at the last moment, begging him to live, to see that she was still alive. Edward, stunned, believed he was hallucinating until he touched her. Their reunion was fierce and raw, but the Volturi soon intervened. Ero, Marcus, and Keys, the leaders of the Volturi, were intrigued by Bella, a human who knew so much about their kind. They demanded she either be turned into a vampire or silenced permanently. Edward resisted, but Alice's vision convinced Ero that Bella would indeed become one of them in the future. They were allowed to leave, but not without a chilling reminder that Bella's transformation was inevitable. Back in Forks, Edward confessed the truth. He had never stopped loving her. His departure had been a lie meant to protect her, to give her a chance at a normal life without the dangers of vampires. But Bella saw it for what it was, a mistake that nearly destroyed them both. She forgave him, though the wound of abandonment still lingered deep within her. For Bella, life without Edward was no life at all. She told him she could not bear to be human while he stayed frozen in time. She wanted to be with him forever, even if it meant becoming a vampire herself. Edward hesitated, torn between his love for her and his fear of damning her soul. He promised never to leave again, but he still resisted the idea of changing her. Bella, however, was resolute. Her choice was clear: eternity with Edward, or nothing. The story closed with the tension between what Bella wanted and what Edward feared, as Jacob stood on the edges of her life, a constant reminder of another path she might have chosen. Their love had survived separation, heartbreak, and near death, but darker trials still loomed. Bella's world had expanded beyond what she could ever have imagined, and though she was still human, her heart already belonged fully to a world of immortality, danger, and unbreakable love.